Just quickly, before we start today's video, my next subscriber showcase lobby will commence this Sunday on the 27th of February at 10 AM Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Times. I will be running multiple sessions on that day, so for a chance to join, simply add me on Xbox. My gamer tag is Ericship. Subscribe to my YouTube channel right here, and also follow me on Instagram. Send me a message saying INV on Xbox 10 minutes before the showcase begins. All subscribers will be chosen at random, and please make sure to have a proper working microphone. Do not worry if you miss out, as I will be hosting many showcases in the near future, and hopefully I'll get a chance to meet all you amazing subscribers very soon. Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So for any long-time Forza fans will know that when the franchise transitioned from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, many changes were implemented to the Forza game engine, including the new drivatar feature we all know so well today, new physics model, to even new graphics so that each vehicle could be experienced to its full potential through the Forza Vista mode. Not only that, when Turn 10 was doing press for many gaming journalists, they also stated that car models would be brand new too, so that the visuals would be consistent to the rest of the game. This is why from Forza Motorsport 4 to Motorsport 5, a huge chunk of the cars were removed, as many of the 3D models from the Xbox 360 era were outdated and inaccurate. Now, as more titles were released, more players within the community noticed that certain vehicles within the franchise were never even remodeled, but instead was only upgraded with texture improvements and an upscaled polygon count. And even till this day in Forza Horizon 5, we still see those cars. Now, rumors suggest that once the Forza franchise moves completely to the Xbox Series consoles only, a brand new game engine will be used, thus hoping that every car will be remodeled from scratch again, because at this point, the franchise really needs it. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at 7 recycled cars that desperately needs to be remodeled right now for Forza Horizon 5 or any Forza games in the future, regardless of whether it happens or not. Starting off with number 1, the Volkswagen Scirocco. So if you guys want to know which cars were taken from the Xbox 360 era, a huge giveaway is to take the vehicle into Forza Vista mode and see if you can explode the bonnet to see the engine bay. If there is no option for that, then 95% of the time it means that the car was taken from an Xbox 360 title, polished up to then be featured in a current gen Forza game. So the reason why I'm including this car on the list is because of the small bug that has caused a slight mix-up between two rear bumpers and exhaust. As you can see, when I choose the first option for the rear bumper, an exhaust is placed right in the middle where one of the splitters is located, hence why you can see it through the exhaust. The exhaust for this bumper should actually be installed for the second rear bumper and vice versa. Now you might be asking, how do I know this? Well, if you go way back to Forza Motorsport 4, you can actually see how the two aftermarket bumpers should look like. And here is the saddest part. You can actually date this bug all the way back to Horizon 2, and 8 years on, it still hasn't changed. Unbelievable. And another reason why, as to why I know this car was from the Xbox 360 era, is that this car was brought in as a DLC pack in Motorsport 4, so I strongly doubt that this car was ever remodeled for the next gen consoles 2 years later. Number 2, the Volkswagen R32 Mk4 Golf. What annoys me more about all of this is that before the launch of Horizon 5, a question was asked to the developers if certain cars would be remodeled, and the answer was yes. Now granted, they didn't go into specifics, but from what I have seen, and I've said this in a previous video before, I don't think there has been any cars that's actually been remodeled. And here is one of the biggest examples of cars that really needs remodeling, and that is this Mk4 R32 Golf. First off, look at how the wheels sit. They aren't even in the middle of the wheel arches. The overall body shape just looks far too boxy compared to its real life counterpart. Yes, the car itself doesn't look the most modern, but if you look at the real R32, you will notice that the entire car is subtly quite rounded, but in Forza, there's no roundness to it. The front also doesn't look very accurate either, with the lower grille being far too big and protrudes out far too much. Now, I'm not sure how long this model has been used for, but some have said that this car even dates back to the one seen in the original Forza Motorsport, which is a scary thought. Remember, during those times, cars were not laser scanned, but rather modeled using images as reference points. Number 3, the Toyota AE86. Here's another car that die-hard Forza fans have asked to be remodeled. One of my biggest gripes of this is of course the pop-up headlights. I mean, just look at these ones from Forza. Why are the actual headlight reflectors so small? It makes the pop-up look like it has massive eyelashes. This is most certainly not how it looks like in real life. Also, at some point throughout the life in the Forza series, the little white strip just underneath the side indicators on the front panel changed to all black. But the problem with the AE86 is really the overall shape. The entire front bumper just looks out of proportion, it's too fat and thick looking, the angle in which the front bumper slants down from the windshield to the headlights is too sharp and short, making the front of the car look shorter than it does in reality. Headlight textures are abysmal, and I just hope that in the next Forza title, whichever one they decide to release, just not Forza Street 2, that we will get a fully laser scanned AE86 and not the 360 era model again, because it's safe to say that this car is very popular within the Forza community. Number 4, the Subaru 22B. So I have alluded to this in one of my recent videos that ever since the 22B was featured in the Forza series, since pretty much the very beginning, the shape of the car has looked very weird. The biggest issue that I have with this car is of course the front end. The bottom bar where the fog lights and grille is located is far too tall, hence why the STI decal has always looked elongated, which has then resulted in the front headlights being too small to compensate for the out of proportion bumper. Now, over the years, I will say that at least Turn 10 and Playground Games finally got the Sonic Blue Mika paint job much more accurate than they did in the past. In older titles, if you have ever noticed, the 22B almost looked purple, which made the car look even worse than it already did. Now, in Forza Motorsport 7, Turn 10 stated prior to the game launching that this particular car would have a full modeled engine bay, but unfortunately, when the game launched, the 22B didn't. It's quite a shame really, but one thing I'm also noticing too while making this video is that it seems as though many 90s JDM cars in this franchise are essentially the vehicles that desperately need remodeling. Number 5, the Nissan Skyline R32 GTR. Here's one of the worst offenders, and I would say the big two that desperately needs remodeling in the franchise. Just by looking at the car, to me, it just looks too droopy. The body slopes downwards towards the end, yet the front end looks too high and short. The front headlights are too big, and as a result has made the front grille too small. The wheels are not in the middle of the arches, and once again, like many of the old school JDM cars, the front bumper compared to its real life counterpart is just far too long. It's a shame really, because we know that this was probably from the original Forza Motorsport title, and you know, from the untrained eye, yeah sure, it's a pretty good model, especially knowing that this was created through using images. But once again, at this day and age, if Turn 10, Playground Games, and even Microsoft wants to be the leading #1 racer on console, this just can't happen. And I know I may be coming off as someone who is bashing on the title or the series, but all I want is the best product possible with the best improvements so that we as the consumers can all enjoy. I want the Forza series to be on top of the bill, but they can't slack off and take shortcuts anymore. People are noticing more and more, which is not a good sign for the developers and the franchise. Number 6, the Honda Civic Type R EP3. So this Civic has had a slight identity crisis since being in the franchise. Now in the game it says that this EP3 is a 2004 model, so that means it should be the facelift model. But unfortunately, the only thing that is correct are the headlights. The front bumper itself is still from the 01 to 03 model, so it's somewhat of a mix and match. I would say more of the first generation with just newer headlights. Then with the rear, and I know this definitely sounds like I'm way more nitpicky, but I'm a huge Honda fan, and the rear Honda badge above the number plate should be red, and if this is supposed to be the JDM version, then the Honda badge on the left shouldn't even be there. Now the Recaros in the EP3, I do wish they were red, as the championship white along with the red interior is the famous Honda combination. But yeah, again, another car that you can't open the bonnet in Forza Vista mode, so you know just how old this car model is. And lastly, number 7, the Nissan Silvia S15. Do I need to say any more about this car? Just look at it. From the side profile, the S15 looks horrible. The rear slopes down way too low, and honestly, it looks more like a Honda Legend Coupe more than anything else. It's so bad that even on Twitter, people are making fun of the car model. I really don't need to talk too much about this, as I have spoken about the S15 so many times on my channel, but there is no excuse for this car to still be featured across a 3 or maybe even 4 generation of Xbox titles. We have seen all the recent Cars Playground games and Turn 10 have scanned, and majority of them look nearly flawless. I just wish that they would just put some of the new cars on hold and remodel some of our favorites that the community loves to drive, and that way all of the cars within the collection will be very consistent. So there we have it guys, 7 recycled cars that desperately needs remodeling in Forza Horizon 5. Which other cars needs remodeling for the entire franchise? Write them down in the comment section below, as I'm sure there are more than 7. Anyways, if you guys did find this video helpful or interesting, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button, as it really does help me out. And lastly, if you guys would like to see more Forza Horizon 5 content right here on this channel, make sure to click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. That way you won't ever miss out on another video that goes live, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.